I did forget with reunions, especially with this crew, that you're going to get a whole lot of crosstalk. I thought that they did a better job managing it. I thought that Andy did a good job with the safe words. We had one little snafu in the middle with LB and Bronwyn. But overall, I thought they were better at getting their points across.
I think there were two snafus then, because the snafu that I'm thinking of is between Angie and LB.
Oh, yeah, that one too.
Yeah.
That's the one I was referring to. Oh, the
You said
Bronwyn
Bronwyn.
one.
There was a lot of crosstalk.
There was cross-talking.
There is, well, I feel bad blaming one person, but there's a reason why there's a lot of crosstalk in these shows.
Oh, yeah? Who?
Who do you think?
Who?
LB.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Come on.
Bros and shows, bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows, bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. We are currently trying to upgrade our stuff in the studio, and let me tell you, I have not been this aggravated in a very long time. I want to throw all of my stuff through the window because I don't know how to do technology when it comes to audio-video setups.
Steel and technology, they don't get along.
I'm not an idiot. Like, I can figure 90% of things out. It's like the intricacies of adding. You know what? You guys you didn't come here to hear about my technological stuff, but let's just say I'm really
Frazzled.
like beyond. Like,
Fraggle Rock.
yeah. Like, if I didn't like you, I would punch you right in the mouth.
Yeah. I've been threatened a couple of times. I think it's on camera, so I've got that.
I didn't threaten you.
Threatened.
Did I threaten you?
I don't know, maybe. Roll the tape.
It's kind of a blur. This is really frustrating. It's so frustrating. I have bought and returned 2 cameras. We now have 3 phones set up around here. Hopefully this works a little bit better. I'll figure out the audio part. I don't
Gotta peek
understand.
behind the curtain.
I just don't understand. You spend $600 on a fucking soundboard and you plug it into the computer and it comes in as one audio thing. There's not 2 tracks for 2 different microphones. That would make so much more sense. You could apply them to the different feeds of our cameras. But instead, there's 1 fucking track. I've tried 3 fucking programs. None of them work. How are you today?
That's what they tuned in to hear.
I feel better.
You're not going to get it. It's actually been a long time since we've got. Actually, I'm going to take that back immediately because yesterday Steele threw a pen across the room in his window.
But that was because of the episode. And I was also in
Correct. I'm
jest.
just saying it's been a long time since we've had a Steele rant, so I think the people need Steele rants here and there. And it doesn't really matter what the context is.
I'm curious if they'll appreciate that one. But as far as this episode goes, because did I even do the intros?
Yeah, sure.
Did I?
Nope, probably not.
Welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. I'm your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by my rock, my personal sound bath, old Shooter Magooter. What's up?
I don't know what the fuck we're going to expect out of this episode. This is going to be a weird one. And it's already a reunion episode, so there's already a lot of stuff going on. I will say, and we've gotten over this in the past, because when we first started this, the reunion episodes were, you might get like a nugget of information here, and then it's just a lot of crosstalk, and not a lot actually gets discussed or resolved or even really embraced at all by anybody. They've gotten a lot better.
They've gotten more concise, yeah.
And this is the type of show that is a very explosive show with this cast. So we do take a lot of things with a grain of salt. We're going to let it go. There's a lot of yelling and screaming over each other. But I felt like this was a good way to ease isn't the right word, but to get into things. There's going to be some explosions throughout. There was 1 or 2 in this episode. There's probably going to be more next episode, as we see as a little bit of a cliffhanger. We got a good old-fashioned watch your tone off.
Your tone's all wrong.
It's all wrong. And yeah, I think it's going to be way more explosive moving forward, but I did like the way that they did this because it wasn't explosive immediately as we've seen in other shows.
Yeah, they're taking their time getting into it. You can tell there's just a lot of emotion in this cast because of friendships that they thought may have been deeper, friendships that were never deep, betrayal, people talking shit where they shouldn't have been. There's a whole lot to dig into. So all in all, it was a great start.
Very good.
And I also feel like we really haven't gotten into a whole lot. There's a lot more from this season, which makes me more optimistic. The fact that we have a 3-episode run here. So the fact that they started out, didn't divulge too much. We talked about some stuff, but there should be enough to carry us through 3 episodes. That's
Definitely.
our other big.
I will say this first episode, we talked about a lot of stuff that we didn't even know about.
Right, exactly.
So we still have to get into what actually happened this season. We still have Brittany coming out at some point wearing Angie's dress.
Yes.
So there's a lot more to be had in this reunion. So this is well deserving of a 3-parter. And if you're going to have a 3-parter, talk about stuff that happens either in unseen footage, which, we found out why that was removed, or things that have happened in the interim.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to start us off because we want to know where everybody stands right now, where the friendships lie, who's mad at who's forgiven who, things like that. So it's a good way to just kind of set the tone for the rest of it.
I agree. But let's not wait because we got a lot to talk about, and I'm already calmer, so that's good. I just get frazzled,
It's okay.
Technology frazzles me because it should work one way, and then you have to do all this crazy shit. But let's get into RHOSLC reunion episode number 1. And Angie leads it out of the gate with a dig at Lisa, saying something in regards to, I don't rent my shit.
Mm-hmm.
I am proud of my shit. I don't rent my shit and return it. But as Shooter said, these episodes are a little chaotic when you're taking notes. So bear with me here as we get through this whole thing. We start out with some intentions. Well, and I love that we always do that from Andy. It's like, what's the goals here, lady? Which have any goals ever truly worked out? Because it's always, I want to make nice with so-and-so. And then everyone makes nice at the end.
Specific goals, never.
That's what I thought.
General goals of I want everybody to have a good time and get through this reunion. You got through it.
Maybe, yeah, they get.
I don't think
technically got
to my
through it.
knowledge, nobody's died during a reunion.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet. We'll find out. But Bronwyn's ready to apologize for some things. She's learned a lot after watching herself back. She checked tape, so that's good. We'll see if she's able to come out of this reunion on top or not. She's kind of in the middle right now. Whitney wants to be able to move forward with Lisa Barlow. Do you buy that? Do you ever think she really wants to be friends with Lisa?
No, this is just Whitney getting ahead of it and speaking up now because I
That's
think
what I
she's going to
thought.
have a hard time talking and putting words together that
Sure.
actually make sense throughout. So this is her time to shine.
She gets frazzled.
Nobody's really willing to talk right now. All the people that are mainstays, and Whitney is a mainstay at this point, but all the other people are like, yeah, whatever, Bronwyn speaking up makes a lot of sense. She's getting ahead of it too, saying that she's going to take back some of the things because she's watched the tape. There's silence here. Whitney can fill that silence with just saying, hey, I want to talk to Lisa. Maybe we can get through this in a constructive way as long as we can both talk and hear to each other.
Definitely.
Both of us need to talk and both of us need to hear.
Yeah.
Sure.
We'll see how that goes. But we get a recap of the shit talking and the allegations thrown around this season, all of the drama. I think they should do all reunions like this because they don't always do that. They literally had a montage of all altercations and problems that people have had.
A lot
with
of
everybody.
montages, yeah.
We had quite a few. I don't know if we need as many montages. This one that let it off was good because it reminds you, oh, yeah, right, that happened. Oh, yeah, I forgot about the camp scene. Oh, yeah, I forgot about this scene. So it kind of gives you a blueprint of what to focus on as we go through this reunion. But we start out with Alibaba. And this made no sense to me.
Nope.
Okay, so the photo, the whole thing came from the photo of this necklace that was also being sold on Alibaba. The charge being you're white labeling your jewelry by upcharging cheap Alibaba stuff.
Correct.
Her explanation doesn't do shit for me because she's like, it was a placeholder until we had modeling photos. Why would your placeholder photo be an Alibaba photo then?
I don't fucking know. I can try to explain what I think maybe Whitney was trying to get to, and that would be
Please do.
That would be that it was a generic stock photo of the design, sort of.
Oh,
And that's what they used as the placeholder. Alibaba also had a similar piece because, it's just a cross. Like, how many crosses are there out there? I can't believe that I'm trying to explain for Whitney. This doesn't mean I believe anything she fucking said.
you're Team Whitney.
I'm just trying to figure out what she was getting at, and I think that's what she was getting at is, yeah, it's just a stock photo that everybody has access to if you type in, like, gold cross, and we just put it up there for 48 hours, and then we got a model to actually come in.
Why would it be the Alibaba? It's not close
because
to.
it's a stock-
exact.
It's just because it's a stock photo. So
So
Alibaba is, if you go on Alibaba, just like you would go on like an off-brand Amazon, you're going to see a stock photo of what this thing looks like, but it's not actually what it is.
Oh,
It's like Temu.
okay. I see what you're saying. So
Temu would have been funnier, but
Temu would have been really funny, or Shein. So you're on board with Whitney's description. You're on Team Whitney.
I think that's what she was trying to say. I'm not on her. I
So
fully
you
believe that
support
she's buying.
Whitney.
She's 1,000% buying wholesale small items that are very cheap,
Allegedly.
and then white labeling them.
Allegedly.
In my mind,
We got lots of cameras in here now. If this works on YouTube, God only knows when I try to put all this shit together. We'll see. It's going to be so much fun. But anyway, I don't believe her. I think that she she made a mistake, or whoever's running her site made a mistake by doing that. But
Well, she did run an MLM, so I don't think she's running it.
yeah, I don't know.
She recruited 7 people to run it.
That's
And then those 7 people recruited 7 more people.
each, and they all pay Whitney.
And they're all selling knives on the side, too.
What was that, Cutco?
Cutco, yeah.
Yeah, those knives actually weren't bad. But this is a valid point. It's like, why bring this up if you're not trying to start shit? And Lisa's claim, as we heard, was that it was going to come out eventually.
Mhm.
It was all over social media. Now, the one account that did post it, I'm not even sure what account it was.
Neither am I.
They had, from what they're saying in the reunion, 10,000 followers. It wasn't a main storyline. I don't remember now, because obviously it was posted so much, if I saw multiple accounts with the Alibaba thing, because there definitely was multiple accounts talking
Pretty
about
sure
it.
what happened was somebody did post it. Now, the 10,000 followers is probably a little misleading.
Yeah, it is.
I'm sure that original account got thousands and thousands of followers because of that post.
Or at least thousands of views on it.
Yeah, for sure. And then other people were posting it after that.
So that's my question.
Yes.
Was the post posted and then circulated, or was it posted, sat stagnant for a little while, it happened on the show, and then
That
boom?
we may never know.
Yeah, I don't, because
I'm sure that it got reposted a bunch of times when
would
like the
imagine.
show aired.
I would
but
think.
I think at the time too, because we see this in the off season all the time when people are pointing things out and they're going after, people like Whitney who do dumb shit like this. They'll see it and they'll repost it. And then once it gets a little bit of traction,
Then it
it'll
goes-
fly.
yeah.
And then it probably has a second level where it hits when the show airs.
Yeah.
So
okay.
it does get a little convoluted, but that's my best guess.
Well, Meredith's defense of bringing it up to Heather was, I didn't want to be shady and do things behind your back. I want to let you know. It's like,
I thought she did actually a pretty good job of explaining this one, though.
kind of.
Like, I don't really like you, Whitney. We're not friends.
Yeah,
so, like,
that's
I
fine.
give it to somebody who is friends with you that can bring it to you.
If it was anybody else taking that stance, I'd be like, okay, fine. But because it's Meredith and she constantly finds ways to
Yeah.
slither out of situations like this with a logistical or semantical, is that a word?
Semantical, yeah.
Okay. Logistical or semantical excuse where it's like, well, I didn't actually say this, or I wasn't actually talking behind your
Right.
back. We're just not friends. That doesn't track for me only because it's
This
Meredith.
one actually made sense to me.
It did.
Usually she does that, but it usually doesn't make any sense. This one did make sense.
It made sense. I just don't believe that was her
I definitely don't
intention.
believe
That
it.
was my
No,
point.
it's just a great reason.
It's just she successfully
Yeah, it was
she
incredible.
threw a curveball and it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we talk about the iconic line, "Go the distance," from Lisa Barlow, and we dive further in. Okay, so is Sean her attorney's name, right? Sean. Did Sean find anything? And Lisa's like, well, and I like that you threw it back to Whitney, because Whitney was saying, I've got proof, I got proof, I got proof. Lisa, did you find anything? Did Sean find anything? Well, I never got the IP addresses or anything from Whitney to try to track things down, so I never found any evidence. And then Whitney takes the weird approach of, you have his phone number. It's like, don't bring him up.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to bring up the content creator,
Yeah.
because
That wasn't who we were talking about.
No.
That's why I got really confused. Even for Lisa, like Lisa did a good job of deflecting, but anytime you deflect it back to Whitney, she's going to say something or put her foot in her mouth and it won't come back to you anyway. But what we were asking is, you could get the IP address of the original post
right,
and figure out who originally posted it,
right.
and then maybe track some things down and figure out who was talking to who from there. Lisa could have done all that without Whitney's input, but putting it back on Whitney is just such a great move because Whitney's going to immediately just explode with a lot of bullshit and nonsense that really doesn't track for anybody, and it's not going to come back to you anyway.
But when she says that to Lisa, I don't believe that, actually. Like, I do believe Meredith has her number, but then I started thinking, I'm like, all right, does this guy have a line with everybody on the show? Are they going to
Whitney's
him
just
for
like
stuff?
publicly hanging out with podcasters like that, though. So
Really?
yeah.
Who
like,
else?
She'll take pictures.
You don't have to name them, but
No, there's definitely other ones that I've seen in the past where
Oh,
like
that's
she'll
interesting.
take pictures with them. Whereas somebody like Meredith reads the DMs, and if there's any credibility or if it's somebody that she hates and wants to hold a grudge over, she'll definitely try to take them down with it.
yeah,
But she doesn't broadcast, hey, I talked to so-and-so who has a podcast. She
that would
just
be
says,
stupid.
I heard something. Yeah, that would be really dumb. It would be even dumber to have that person on speakerphone in a car while being filmed.
Especially, you know what would be even dumber? If you heard what he said and then that person tried to backtrack and claim they didn't say that.
Yeah.
That'd
you know
be
what'd
silly.
be even dumber
To claim bad edit?
is to have us on speakerphone and have one of us giggling in the background because it's complete bullshit and we're just goofing.
Yo, if we were ever an informant for one of these
Oh,
shows,
that'd be
it would you'd literally hear like Shooter talking and be like, or vice versa.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's
Yeah,
good.
no, say that. Are they buying this shit? Like, we would never, though, not in a
No.
million years. But let's get to Heather and Angie and Lisa, because this was a big issue. It's the video game comment, and Andy asks, are you and Heather okay? Because you guys were friends in this thing. Did you feel betrayed? As we discussed, Heather was in between a rock and a hard place with this. I'm not defending her necessarily, because this was also amidst her tough run in the midst of this season. But what she was doing was recognizing, fuck, this is going to be on camera.
Correct.
I need to tell Lisa that Angie talks some shit.
Foreshadowing for later now.
It is,
When
honestly.
we find that out.
Yeah, but that's all she was trying to do. Granted, from Angie's standpoint, yes, I would feel a little betrayed. But at the same time, she's like, look, I know she loves me, but yeah, this threw me off a little bit. I didn't love this whole thing. And then you get just unintelligible crosstalk.
Yep.
This was when I was like,
I don't still to this day. Even the subtitles went off.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it said unintelligible crosstalk.
Did it?
Like,
I didn't
something,
even see that.
Something along those lines, or like inaudible, or whatever it may have been. I have no idea.
I cannot tell you.
Now, to be fair, I don't think anything that was actually said over each other is anything of importance.
Yeah, probably not.
It's just two people defending themselves.
Well, it's two people defending themselves using their own evidence, whatever it
Yeah.
might be. And they both have conflicting stories. Obviously, Lisa's defending why it got to that point, because you questioned my parenting. Of course, that's what you were doing. You're saying I'm a bad mom. And Angie's like, I'm not saying you're a bad mom. I was just, whatever.
Whatever it ended up being. And that's the thing with a situation like this, it's not going to get resolved because it's two people that are saying very different things. You might get somebody apologizing, or maybe you can come to some sort of middle ground. We've already seen this, and people have already picked their sides,
Yes.
whether you're on Lisa or Angie's side. I don't know if there's a right or wrong side to be on for something like this. It's got to really come down to them. But if they're just going to crosstalk and they're just going to scream over each other, then that's what they're going to do.
But it takes a firm left turn, because Lisa says, I talked to Bronwin and I said, don't go to Angie about this because I will. Now we get the actual scene. She said, I'm going to talk to Angie. She didn't tell Bronwyn not to tell her.
Right.
Now, if you...
Semantics.
Exactly. There's nothing to dig into deep there, but that triggers Bronwyn. And before we get into it, overall, what did you think of Bronwyn's performance in this first reunion?
It was such a roller coaster because I thought that she started off okay. Like, that is the right move to
She
say it's
started
your
off
first
fine.
season, and then say that you rewatched and there were some things that you weren't really happy about, and you started off essentially with an apology, like a pre-apology for things going on. I thought that in this situation, this was semantics. And this was indicative of what Bronwyn did pretty much the entire season, where she took it upon herself to go tell somebody else almost immediately.
Yeah.
And there were certain situations where she should have just sat on the information and used it later instead of just, hey, everybody, guess what we just heard in the car on the ride over.
Right.
That's where she got caught, and she kept doing it and doing it and doing it, and it was becoming tiring. So this situation, not great for Bronwyn.
No, especially like the lead off with, it was kind of funny. It's like, you want to get big? Let's get big. I'm like, yeah, tell her. But at the same time, I'm like, that seems forced. I don't think that you're like really trying to bow up to her. I think that you've watched reunions coming into this reunion. You're like, oh, I'm going to stand
That's
my
what
ground.
Lisa's claiming.
I don't
Did you see that?
know. Is that
Oh, there's a good Instagram story off going on right now.
is that
We'll
what
get
it
to
is?
it when it's
Okay.
relevant to
All right.
what we're talking about.
But
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, but if it is referring to her coming in having done her homework, that's what this felt like to me.
Yes.
Like, oh, I'm gonna like I've seen what to do. I'm gonna look tough in the beginning. But as you pointed out, and we're gonna say semantics a lot, and sorry, it's just that's a lot of what this episode was arguing about what was said, how it was said,
Right.
and the recap of Bronwyn's early moves in the season. That's what she did. We talked about it. We liked it actually early on, and then she didn't have another play in her playbook.
Correct. Yeah.
And it's like, all right, well, now everyone sees what you do. You talk out of both sides of your
You
mouth.
can't just call out the hypocrisy the entire time.
Right. That's the
Eventually, you
whole
have to
thing.
fall in line.
Correct. But I did like the fact that she says, you were furious at Angie for repeating a conversation with Whitney, but your couch has repeated conversations amongst each other the whole season. So there seems to be a double standard here. I'll give her that.
Mhm.
And that's the thing. And I think that she had a big learning curve this season just with Lisa alone.
Yeah.
Because she didn't know that side of her. And she got to know that and she watched it and she's like, oh, so this is what she does. Yeah.
Right.
She will say what supports her story. And the thing about Lisa is she believes it to be true.
Mhm.
Whatever it is, if it makes her look better, she believes it. If it makes her look worse, she doesn't. She denies it. That's her whole thing. And in this moment, she dodges that as well.
Yeah.
She really doesn't respond to, is your couch allowed to say whatever you want, but we're not. She sidesteps it. And Heather jumps in and says, well, I felt kind of a shift going back to Angie. And the whole Bronwyn and Lisa thing gets put on hold ever so briefly.
Yeah.
But shifting back to Angie, this is where it gets whack. This is where it's hard to take notes because we go back and forth.
Mhm.
But we're back with Angie and Lisa. And Andy asks, like, where are you guys today? How are you guys doing? We saw that moment in the aquarium where they came back together. Obviously, we watched them fall apart. And when Angie leads off the episode with a dig about Lisa returning her stuff, you kind of know where they stand out of the gate. Meredith jumps in with, like, there's a comment about her being a backup dancer. And once again, is there another word for semantics?
No.
We need a thesaurus.
No. And it's I don't even understand what this was and why Angie got so upset about it.
Because she was called a backup dancer, which
Like,
implies...
we know what it insinuates, but like
But that's the funniest part. So you're right. This is a nothing argument.
correct, yeah.
But it's a very funny argument because it does depict exactly what Meredith Marks does.
Yeah.
You're implying that she's a backup to Jen Shaw. Like,
Right.
that's her claim to fame. She's Jen Shaw's puppet.
She's keeping it surface level.
saying
Just
you
saying
were
literally a backup dancer. What I thought, we got a little bit more insight into what Angie thinks, though. And I think the idea of even bringing up Jen Shaw and the fact that Angie's associated with her behind her,
right.
that gets to her immediately.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's still where she is. Jen Shaw's in prison, Ange.
Literally.
You're sitting front row. You're in the first seat.
You went from bench warmer to
Be
front
happy.
row.
You can't make that comment, and then as soon as Jen Shaw gets brought up, you get shook.
Yep.
That shows us a lot, and I really didn't care to see that because I feel like Angie's made strides, especially in the last couple episodes of the season. And look, I do think
She got
it's gonna be a
baited.
long reunion.
She got baited.
It's going to be a very long reunion. This wasn't a good look to start off with. I thought she was going to be able to hold her own the whole time. I may have been wrong.
Look, you go 3 rounds.
Yep.
You go 3 rounds. This is not the end all
Or in
be
their
all.
case, they sit there for about 6 hours and try to figure this
6.
out.
It's like 12.
This
dude.
one, yeah, it could be
yeah.
even
This
longer,
one must
yeah.
have been long as shit. But it gets even more crazy. They're just bringing up rumors now because we watched the Twitter beefs going on between all these ladies throughout the season, and we did see the G-Wagon getting repossessed comment on Twitter. I don't think anybody believed that happened.
No.
And, you know, Bronwyn heard it from, I don't even know who. She saw it, right? Like in a DM or...
She had received a text message or a
That's
DM.
it.
No, it was a messy DM or a message, she said. It's definitely a DM stating that Lisa had her G-Wagon repossessed.
And she, in a moment, repeated that to
She
Angie.
just showed it to her and like it was. She even said she was like it was messy, but like I don't know. And I don't think Bronwyn actually believed it, but she probably thought it was funny.
Yeah.
The problem is that Angie may have believed it
And then
or
tweeted
thought that it was at least like a good rumor to put out there. That is not an appropriate response to being called a backup dancer.
I don't think so either.
It's just not. You threw this out there like, and we saw Angie. Everybody who's been on Twitter has seen all of the things that Angie's been doing. She's been going back and forth with Lisa. It's like they are perpetually online.
Yeah,
Lisa
yes.
still, by the way, is so many comments from Lisa.
She
on
comments on a
Instagram.
lot of stuff.
It's crazy. She must have a team, or it's just her going nuts and not talking to her husband.
Maybe she has Google alerts.
She might actually have
And then
Google alerts set up, but we can both agree it's not a reasonable response. You got called
No.
a backup dancer. Just like let it go and roll it.
It wasn't that deep, and I don't think anyone believed that her shit got repossessed. I do think that her and JB husband boss have money, so that's never really called into question. But Bronwyn says, look, I just repeated something because I was mad
Right.
and I thought it was funny. This is not your beef with me. You had your beef with Angie, stick to Angie. But it goes right back to Bronwyn because we talk about the necklace. Now, I think everybody that watched this show, I know you and I were sitting there watching going, there's no fucking way that Todd's about to buy her $2 million earrings and a $4 million. He's not spending $6 million on jewelry right
Probably
now.
not.
This has to be a move for the show. We both said maybe it's rented. Maybe they're just flashing it so they can show that they can do this. And the conversation that ensues was kind of shocking in my mind because her backpedal of the whole thing doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And it was confirmed on Watch What Happens Live that she didn't buy the
It's
jewelry.
even more backpedaling.
Yeah. So it was confirmed she didn't buy it. In this moment, she's saying, well, I ended up settling for a similar necklace that was smaller because Todd said the first one was too flashy, and I got hoop earrings. Okay. So we saw studs that were $2 million, right?
Yep, something like that.
We saw
She even said that. She said, not the studs. I went with the hoop earrings.
Right.
Like, okay.
Okay, well, that's a massive shift there. And then the necklace, obviously being $4 million, stood out to everybody that watched. Now, what was strange was how the information came to pass. That's where I had my biggest issue. I don't even have an issue so much with Bronwyn or Lisa in this moment.
Right.
My issue's with Emma.
Yeah, obviously. And look, two things can be true. I don't believe anything that Bronwyn said.
I don't either.
At all. Because especially when she's talking on Watch What Happens Live and she says, I spoke to the jeweler a few days before the reunion. The plan was to have something made for me that I could wear to the reunion. So now you're still talking about that on Watch What Happens Live after the reunion. You've already filmed the reunion. You already know it's going to be a point. I just don't believe anything that she said. And that's okay because we even started laughing about it while I was watching it. And at the end of it, she said, in this economy, I'm going to spend $4 million on a necklace in this economy. You are rich as shit, lady. Nobody cares.
She
You
said it was
don't
a
care.
bad look. It's
We
like,
watch these shows because you're super rich.
yes.
If you were middle class, yeah, it might be a little entertaining for a while, but we like to escape to the rich area.
Yeah, we're middle class at most.
Yeah. So back off. Like, don't bring us into it. We have nothing to do with your $4 million necklace. I just don't believe anything because she's done too much backtracking. But I agree. The issue here is with Emma because she's got to get fired.
There's no way
no
that she
way.
keeps her job. And, you could blame Lisa for outing her. She's like, well, she
I thought
texted me,
it
let me
was
know.
snarky.
I did too. I think that you have a right to call it out. Like, how'd you find this out? Well, she texted me and she hands the phone to Andy, which is the most exonerating way you can do anything. I appreciate anybody that's going to be like, here, go through it. And then he scrolls through and reads the whole thing. He's like, oof, there's a lot more.
There. She is upset with you, Bronwyn.
She's not happy.
And look, maybe she just didn't get commission from it because she was thinking that she was going to make, $4 million on the necklace and she's going to get a chunk of that. And then there's $2 million earrings that she's going to get a chunk of. And then you just don't buy them.
And you
come
drive,
back and
she
you're
has
like,
to drive
maybe.
from LA to Palm Springs.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of things involved and that's fine. But Emma made her bed when she texted Lisa.
That was a bad idea.
Really bad idea.
Like-
I know you want to vent. You go call somebody else
Anybody.
that isn't on reality TV.
Like, nobody's going to trust you now.
Yeah.
Everybody on that couch that has money is like, I'm not going to her anymore.
Not going to that
Like,
jeweler.
even Lisa's going to be like, yeah, thanks, but
Lisa
no.
was like, I haven't talked to her in 2 years, so it was weird that I got a text. Bronwyn's over there like, oh, what did the text say? What do you mean? What's going on? It's like, Bronwyn, you're not even really denying. You're just over-explaining at this point.
Yeah.
Trying to make the situation very murky so that we think that something happened. No, you didn't buy it. You didn't get anything.
Emma felt burnt.
You might end up, you tried to probably rent something a couple of days before so that you could make it a talking
You
point.
should have.
You probably should have because you could have just said that and it would have gotten you at least out of this weird situation. And maybe Lisa doesn't bring up that text message.
Yeah, all this does, honestly, in the overall scope of things, is make you question her credibility.
Yeah.
Because none of this makes a whole lot of sense. And you have the jeweler herself going, yeah, she's full
Are
of
you
shit.
even an authorized user on Todd's black card?
Oh, boy.
Who knows?
That's the big question.
They've gotten it taken away.
Yeah, but we get further into Bronwyn. We do like a whole recap of her season pretty much, like the fashion, talking out of both sides of her mouth about Whitney via the iconic versus trite line.
Yeah.
And the FaceTime in the hot tub, all of her issues with everyone. And this is a good montage as well. Maybe all the montages were good because they catch you up. I don't know. Was there?
Yeah, I think the last one is the one that stuck with me. That I'm like, I don't really need
Is that
this.
the one? Okay.
It's just Todd.
I knew there was one. Yeah, the
I
Todd,
don't need this.
the Montod was not necessary.
no.
But we talk further about Lisa and Bronwyn's friendship. They haven't spoken in a month, and Lisa's done recommending friends. She goes through the list. She has recommended a lot.
She did say she doesn't, I guess, regret recommending Bronwyn.
No, so she does recognize good for the show, good for us, and that's still all of these ladies are in some
great
way a
businesswoman.
producer
Yep.
of this show, so she recognized she did pretty good. But we see the whole turning on Bronwyn from Lisa thing, and Andy asks, like, Bronwyn, how'd you feel about it going through this season? I'm glad that she recognized watching back that she was chasing after Lisa the whole season.
I thought she did really well here.
This was her best moment, for sure. Taking accountability. I know how it looked. I'm not proud of it. I was doing whatever I could to try to suck up to her. I thought that we were really close. It became pretty clear to me after the season ended. I was a social friend. I misread the whole situation to the point later on when Whitney was feeling a little bit scorned by her. She goes, look, I'm sorry. I put Lisa up on this pedestal. I did whatever I could to appease her because I was so confused while I was losing her friendship. I thought something was wrong. I thought I could fix it by throwing you under the bus and looking better in her eyes. I'm sorry. I was like, good move.
Yeah.
Solid move. Yeah.
Yeah, very solid move. And that's really the only thing that you can say in that situation that makes you look okay. I actually felt a little sad for Bronwyn.
I did in this moment
In this moment
yeah.
specifically, I felt pretty sad for Bronwyn because it seemed like, and based on what we've heard, her talking about Todd and their marriage and what's going on in her life, and he's, traveling the world, she might just need a friend.
That's it. I
She
think
might
that is.
actually be looking for a good friend to hang out with. Maybe thought, oh, I'm going to be on the same show as Lisa. We can hang out a little bit more, showcase our friendship, maybe go to the next level. No.
Nah.
Lisa brought you on because you're going to be good for the show. And yeah, you're a social friend. And Lisa confirms it.
Yeah, unfortunately she does. But I didn't think Heather did great here because we're talking about the Palm Springs conversation
Right.
and, do you regret how that whole thing transpired? And Heather says, look, I clocked Bronwyn from the jump. And maybe she got a better read than we thought.
Yeah.
I'll give her that. But going back to that conversation, because we talked about it then, she's stuck on this, I felt like I had to sing for my supper thing. When we rewatched that whole scene, I still do believe that that was an olive branch from Bronwyn. I don't think that she went
Whether
to
it was show oriented or not,
Doesn't
I still
matter.
felt like it was fine. I don't believe when Heather says, I thought, and look, this could just be something that Heather thinks about a little bit more, being pretty much, well, she is the only single one on the cast.
Yeah.
We still consider Robert Sr. there, but
Yeah.
we don't know about
asterisk.
that.
Put an asterisk there.
But, yeah, maybe that's just something that she thinks about a little bit more, and she's a little bit more aware of that. But she says that she didn't feel like she was ever going to be invited because it was a couples trip. And I understand that thinking, but I didn't get that from the conversation that was had.
I didn't either. Not at any point did I get that. And she walked in with the assumption, like, I'm not invited. This is all bullshit. And it's like, I don't.
Maybe
I
it's
really
the dog shit everywhere.
Maybe, or the dog
I'm
pee.
literally going to step in dog shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that was what it was. But Whitney, we asked Whitney about it. We could have asked anybody else. Whitney sees both sides, and I think that's her defending Heather a little bit. I really don't, honestly. I don't see Heather's side of this. I think that she felt dejected because it was a quote-unquote couples trip, took it
Right.
personally, and this was her reaction to it. But hey, Andy brings up the weight loss. Somebody asks this question. They send it in.
Crazy
Who would
that they
take
actually-
the time to type this and send it in?
Oh, a lot of people.
Why?
I don't really like that unless Heather said she wanted to address it because
That's
she
what I
feels like
thought.
it's something else that's out there and she's been reading about it. I don't like that Bravo just decided, hey, we're going to use this question.
I don't either. I think
eh.
she obviously has to think about this all the time because she
Yeah.
has to see it in comments.
We already
She's
had the comment from Mary.
Yeah, and
early
she
in the
hears it all the
season.
time. She hears it from strangers say she's too skinny now, and before she was too big. Like, it's all horseshit. She's looked great before, she looks great now. There's no reason to keep highlighting her weight unless she wanted to address it, like
I
you
think she
said.
could have too because she was very, very poignant when
She
she was
was.
going through that and talking about it. And I understood everything she was saying. And she even got help from Mary in this too.
Yeah,
Furthering that. And, maybe it was just like a point of power for her to talk about.
could have been.
So she could have just okayed it. Maybe they came to her and they're like, hey, we've got this question. We're a little in between on it. What do you think?
I hope so.
I would hope so too.
I hope
because
so.
At the end of the day, they are Bravo employees. You
Yeah.
gotta check. Who's the HR?
Oh God, I don't know. That job must really suck. The HR for Bravo.
We never talked about this before.
The turnaround for that job must be like 1 year.
Yeah.
I can't handle all this shit. Are you fucking kidding me? We got
Bethany.
six lawsuits this week from Bethany Frankel
Yeah.
alone.
It's a team. It's Bethany and Brandy.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That would melt down. But it's nice to hear Heather, proclaim her confidence now. She's like, I'm proud of the way I look. I'm proud of what I've done. I don't think that it's changed me, and I don't think that I should be held under a microscope because people think that I'm meaner now because I'm
Yeah.
skinny. I think that's bullshit to attribute her. She's no different this year trying to stir up shit as she was last year. It's
She's
the
actually-
same demeanor.
She's better this year.
Yeah.
Because she's staying out of a lot more shit.
Yeah, last year she tried to get involved in a lot more. She came off way more mean girly than she did this year. And for people to point to her weight for that's so fucking dumb.
It's stupid.
Yeah, it's so played. I'm really over that shit. And I'm glad that Mary had her back there. She's like, 5 years ago it was very dark. She's very self-assured now. She loves herself. It's all great. And Heather's happy and proud. So everyone just shut the fuck about her. Like, stop talking about Heather's weight. It's so stupid. But I did feel bad for Bronwyn in this scene as well, because we start to talk about Gwen's grandparents.
Mhm.
And, Bronwyn had never planned on bringing this up, according to her. That I want to think that that's true. I don't know. I forget how that conversation started.
I do too.
Did Lisa bring up her parents? Or grandparents?
So we didn't see it on camera.
Right.
They were talking, and for whatever reason, and Bronwyn explains it a little bit more in this situation, where she says, I don't really talk about Gwen's dad at all. And for whatever reason, when Lisa said, "Oh my God, your daughter looks just like you,"
Right.
I felt a little insecure about it and said, "No, she actually looks just like her dad," and showed a picture. And then that's when the connection was made, which is crazy that that's how the connection was made. But I fully believe that that's what happened.
Yeah, I do
because
too.
it came from both of them too. And this would be the point that one of them would dispute that that's how it happened.
Okay.
And it is definitely what happened. It's just crazy that it turned so quickly on this.
Yeah, because I resonated with Bronwyn now. She's claimed the whole time that her and Lisa were close friends.
Yeah.
Lisa is saying they're more social friends, but when you have a conversation like this, I think that makes you deeper than just like social friends.
Not only this, but the other unseen footage where it was Bronwyn with John and Lisa. sitting down
Oh,
talking
the
about it
adoption.
even more.
That's
yeah.
right. John's whole story.
Yeah. Now that you're putting it like this, actually, how do social friends have conversations like that?
They don't.
Yeah, no.
They don't talk about stuff like this. And you get a recap of their conversation about Gwen and everything. It's like, yeah, that's some pretty deep shit that she's like sharing with her. And Bronwyn's upset because she feels like Lisa has defended the grandparents but refuses to take her side, or at least understand her side.
Right.
Honestly, watching it back, I'm like, yeah, kind of.
Even still, yeah.
Even now as we're watching it on the screen. And we also watched her take Todd's side. We just see her. She does it in a way where she's not actively like, fuck that, Bronwyn's lying.
Right.
Or like
She's not actively taking the other side. She'd just rather be in the middle.
But that to me,
in this situation, it's taking the other side.
yes. Because
Yeah,
she's
I
not
agree.
she's not acknowledging how detrimental it's been to Gwen,
Right.
how hard it's been for Bronwyn over the years to keep all of this hush hush, because she didn't want it to be out there because she was already dealing with enough stuff in regards to being pregnant in the Mormon church. So
Yeah.
as Lisa tries to defend, she's like, I went on the show feeling bad for everybody involved, and I didn't see the show. And after watching it back, I just hurt for all of you. I hurt for everyone involved. It's like, yes, okay, but do you see how lumping them all in puts them on the same like playing field? It's implying that Bronwyn took a misstep somewhere by not addressing this earlier with Gwen, by not reaching out to the parents. And then you get this miscarriage comment, which was on the after show, which, yeah, dude, that's some pretty heavy shit to drop on an after show. And what that's going to do, and what Bronwyn was trying to avoid, is bring Gwen into the spotlight, question this whole thing, have people speculate, which is the biggest issue that we have with like the Bravo community at large, is when they get an inch, they're going to take a mile and be like, oh shit, well, what happened? Let's dig into the family. Let's do this. Let's do that.
Yep.
Bronwyn's been trying to keep the identity of Gwen's dad a secret forever.
Correct.
This was not supposed to come
Even
to
from
light.
Todd, really.
Even from Todd. She never showed Todd a picture until this came out in the after show. And then she's like, well, here you go. This is him. She's made it a priority to do that, to shield Gwen, especially coming on the show. She took even more of a priority. It obviously came up. If you want to say that Bronwyn brought it up, if you want to say Lisa brought it up, I don't think you can argue either side. I think it came up organically, and now it's on camera. It is what it is. I don't think Lisa needed to talk about it on the after show. I think that was a huge misstep on her part, alluding to the miscarriage. It also, once again, makes Gwen's grandparents look like they are not at fault, because they're like, well, we were told she had a miscarriage.
Correct.
So by doing that, you're taking their side, because you're like, well, why wouldn't you reach out to them? They thought that you had a miscarriage. They never knew they had a granddaughter. How dare you not tell them and disclose to them that their granddaughter's alive? It's like, well, that's not what we heard from the other side of things. And I'm going to take it from Gwen, not even Bronwyn. Let's listen to what Gwen had to say about the whole thing.
Yep.
That's the only opinion that really matters, because Gwen talked about that family being super cold to her, that they did have some conversations, and the way that it went, it made it seem like it was on Gwen to make the effort. Gwen didn't like that. That's from Gwen's mouth. No one else said that. So obviously I believe that. Again, pointing to this family who is involved in the Church of Latter-day Saints, who is very weird about shit like this, probably didn't want this to come out because they didn't want their son to look bad in the church. They didn't want their whole community coming at them for him having premarital sex and getting a woman pregnant. So that's what I believe. I believe that the grandparents are kind of shitty. I think they didn't want to meet her until they were ready to, which is not fair to her because then you put the emphasis on an 18-year-old to make the effort. That's horseshit. Bronwyn didn't even need that from Lisa, though. All she needs is, I do get where you're coming from, and I'm sorry if it made it seem like I didn't understand, and I'm sorry if it made it seem like I picked sides for them. That's all she needs.
Yeah, and this is obviously the focal point of the entire episode, too, because we spent the most time on this.
Yeah.
And just to break it down a little bit further, the way that it came out was through unseen footage.
Yeah.
That unseen footage, which was in the same massage room that we were talking originally about the whole backstory.
Correct.
Bronwyn had that scrubbed.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That is well within her right to say, you know what, let's not put that one in there. Lisa didn't know that it was scrubbed.
Right.
But she still doubled down
On the after show.
that on the after show. You don't talk about a miscarriage like that.
No.
You don't talk about it at all, even in passing. Like, yes, you should have realized, like, shit, that's really crazy. And in that unseen footage, Lisa brings it up and says, well, you know what? I think that they thought that you had a miscarriage. So that means you're communicating with them about Bronwyn and Gwen.
Yes.
Probably shouldn't do that.
No,
Stay the
absolutely
fuck out of
not.
it.
None of your fucking business.
And to even go further on that, the way that she talks about it in the after show, she's not showing any remorse.
Zero.
She is trying to hurt Bronwyn.
Yes.
She is trying to make things worse for Bronwyn about a very sensitive subject. So no, you don't get to sit there and cry. You don't get to sit there and say that everybody's attacking me. And I get that, you know, this is the 5th reunion and everybody seems to be attacking you every time. You're the HBIC. You're Lisa Barlow. People are going to come after you. That's how it works. But you do not get to do this. All you need to do right now is shut up and say, I'm sorry, I understand. That's it.
I misspoke.
Instead, she's still taking the grandparents' side
No.
and saying, you know, well, they're not good people. You don't get to take both sides. Just because their son died, and it is super sad, it doesn't mean that eventually they were going to think and like have some sort of moral compass and say, wow, you know what, maybe we should meet this kid.
They never did.
We find out in the unseen footage, after Lisa brings it up, that Bronwyn's dad called them and they didn't return the call.
Correct.
Left a message. She doubled down and said, left a message, did not speak. Lisa tried to turn it again by saying, I can't believe that he even talked to them. They had a whole conversation about this and nobody knew. No, they didn't. They heard the message or didn't listen to the message and moved on with their lives. These are not good people.
No.
I know that you love your social status. I know that you want to hang out with these people and you don't want to burn a bridge. Maybe they're rich. Maybe they're high up in the Mormon church and that looks really nice to you.
Gives a fuck.
Who gives a shit? They're not good people.
No.
They're just not good people. And I love that in the middle of all of this, while Lisa is not recognizing this because she is stuck, she has nowhere to go. Bronwyn's got her.
Yeah.
Heather looks at her and says, there's nothing you can do. Bronwyn's got you. She's got this one. Just take it. If Heather looks at you in the middle of this very delicate, very emotional conversation and says there's nothing you can do, she's got it.
Especially because
You lay
hates
down.
Bronwyn.
You lay down.
Yeah.
You do not further this. And I hate that there's even like a little bit of a fraction of a second there where Bronwyn is asking Lisa and giving her options, saying, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. Lisa's still fighting back.
She's like, don't tell me what to say.
Finally, she says something like, you know what, I understand that, and I didn't really mean to do that. And it's also just a horrible situation for you. And also for them. No. Leave them out of it. Just leave them completely out of it. And now they're still getting into fights because Bronwyn feels like she has to defend herself. So she goes to Instagram, talks about it, just puts it in some sort of context saying, look, it is not on me anymore. It's on Gwen. It's in Gwen's court. She is 18 years old. Everything that happened here was because I checked with Gwen first. You don't have to put any of this on TV. This is your life. You didn't sign up for this. Do you want to do this? Do you want to have conversations about it? Yes. She said yes to everything, so she signed off on it.
Yep.
She put that out there, and then she put another receipt out, which was, and I don't know who the hell it was, but she put a DM that she got stating, I'm sure you're just as surprised to hear from me as I am to hear, or as I am to be writing this letter. I've again become recently aware that my late brother may have a child. So this is supposedly Gwen's father's sister,
Okay.
reaching out to Bronwyn saying this. I have since spoken with my parents and have allowed time to earnestly ponder and pray, knowing the best approach to take myself, as well as the family. Felt I need to be the one to contact you. I cannot claim this is my first time hearing this, nor do I claim it is my parents' first time hearing this. So it's not like they were under the context or under the pretext of this baby doesn't exist.
They knew.
She had a miscarriage. They
fucking
knew. They knew the entire
But
time.
they knew what it would look
You
like.
know what Lisa's response to it was?
Oh, fuck.
It's brutal. Stop lying, Bronwyn. I would have never brought anything to camera. You were salivating to bring this to camera. You're a liar. You lie about everything. Lisa, sit this one out, dude.
Yeah, take
That's
a play
awful.
off, man.
You just don't do that.
Take a play
Salivating
off.
to bring this to the camera?
This
No.
literally changed her entire life.
Yeah.
This, like, as it would anybody, but especially being a member of the Mormon church, it turned her entire life upside down. And then the father of her child died.
Yep.
Like, look, can we have sympathy for parents that lost a kid? Yeah,
Sure.
sure, 100%.
But we
Just-
can't make hypotheticals saying that eventually they're going to meet the kid.
That's what I'm
They weren't there
saying.
when she was born.
They weren't there when she was
It
born
had nothing to do with you.
until they felt that it was okay to do it, which is not fair to Gwen. It's like, oh, now we're ready for you. It's like, fuck you.
And more than likely, that dude would have just lived his life, never actually hung out with Bronwyn or Gwen, and just lived a completely different life.
I
and
mean,
had a
that's what
different
he was
family.
doing. Yeah. So, like,
So of course, why would I not think that? You can't paint a hypothetical and not realize, oh, well, that's what they were going to do.
yeah, dude, her whole thing is based on hypotheticals and saying things like, I wish you didn't bring it up on camera. And this was a heavy weight on me. This is not about you, Lisa.
But everything is about Lisa.
But this did not need to be.
Nope.
This could have been easily swept by her saying, I spoke out of turn.
Mm-hmm.
It was inappropriate. I'm sorry.
I thought that we had talked about it on camera. Maybe I shouldn't have brought it back up on the after show. There's a lot of different things. Again, Bronwyn gave her options.
Fuck, if
And
even
she saw that as, oh, you're trying to tell me what to say. It's like, no, idiot.
dude, it's-
I'm giving you the easiest out. Just say any of the three things that I just brought to you, and we'll be okay.
we can move
move
forward a
forward.
little bit.
Yeah.
Like, even watching the after show, the way that she's talking about it, even watching her in the actual scene
Mm-hmm.
when she questions Bronwyn about it, she's like, well, I heard you had a miscarriage.
Yeah.
So it's like, whoa, are you saying that Bronwyn's in the wrong here? Because you heard the parents that denied this child's existence for 18 years when they fucking knew about this kid? There's just no way they didn't know. And then you're going to like that to me in the moment when they were in the massage room and she says, well, that's not what I heard. It's like, well, she's fucking telling you it's her
Yeah.
fucking kid. What are you doing? Her whole approach to the whole thing was very strange.
Real shitty luck.
Yeah. And, saying like we both have a, she puts a cherry on the whole thing by saying, look, you and them, they both have different experiences. And if you get together and just talk about it, it's like,
Not your role, lady.
not your place. For starters. Second, I don't think Bronwyn, there's not a world where she wants to see these people.
No, but if Gwen wants to, that's her prerogative.
Exactly.
That's all Bronwyn was trying to say.
That's it. And I don't know, and it's like, is there a path forward? It's like, fuck no.
No,
These people
definitely
will
not.
never be friends.
No.
They probably will in like 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But in the near future, absolutely not, especially because they're still taking digs on social media. I do think that Lisa's little snap at the end where she's like, I'm so sorry I fuck up on the daily and it affected you, and I feel for them too. I think she was trying to apologize genuinely there.
I think so, maybe.
It just came out in a very Lisa Barlow way, and then she topped it off with, I feel bad for them too. It's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I don't
Yes.
feel bad for them.
Again, we all feel bad for parents losing their kids.
Sure. Yeah.
That's inherent, right?
This show isn't
doesn't-
about him dying.
No, and it doesn't make them good people because they lost a kid. I know that sounds insensitive to say, but like they fucked Gwen over for a long time. And then when they were cool with it, we're like, no, we'll meet her now. Now that she's
Yeah,
18.
sure.
Like, what? No, fuck them. But we take a quick breather. They break for lunch. Angie's talking to Whitney. This is why, dude, she's an enigma and always will be, because every once in a while she drops a little nugget and you're like, you're so
right.
on the money, and I don't know how the fuck you got
I don't
there.
even know if you believe that you're right, but you're right.
And it's so well said, and you're like, whoa, because she goes, in regards to Lisa, because Lisa's now fighting with most of the people, or has fought with most of the people in a similar way.
Yeah.
And she's like, at some point, if Lisa's having the same conversation with anyone, shouldn't you look in the mirror and say, as Taylor Swift says, hey, it's me, I'm the problem, it's me? Hey, wait, no, that's not it.
She definitely said it wrong because I gave it a weird look.
Me, hi, I'm the problem, it's me.
Sure. Yeah.
See, time.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
We're not Taylor Swift fans right now, but yeah.
Well, yeah, fuck the Chiefs. But That's such a great point. We've been saying that all season.
Mm.
If you continue to have the same fights with different people frequently,
That is the other thing, though, and that's what I said during the conversation. And obviously, it's separate from the whole Bronwyn thing because she is 1,000% in the wrong over there.
Yeah.
People do go for Lisa. They
yes,
have always come for Lisa.
You're the HBI. You are the leader of
Yes.
Salt Lake. That's what happens.
That is exactly what happens. And yes, could you maybe fine tune the way that you react to things so that it doesn't blow out of proportion? Probably. But
Yeah.
you're Lisa, and that's who you are. That's fine. So I do think that, the Whitney thing, who gives a shit what Whitney's doing? Whitney's, again, allegedly buying things from Alibaba and putting them up there. Lisa found out about it. It's a reality TV show. It's called The Housewives. If you've ever watched it before, this happens all the time.
Yeah. Very normal.
Not something that you now need to
Meow.
accuse. Meow. Meow. Meow.
Yeah.
Not something that you now need to accuse Lisa of doing all of this stuff, and now it's part of this. Like, you're not really part of this. You did your own shit.
hmm
Lisa's just, not putting up with you. I don't really think that it's that big of some huge conspiracy that Lisa's doing this to all these people and she's the real liar. Her accusing everybody else of lying is getting a little tired,
I know.
but
I know.
it's not really her fault that everybody keeps going after her. That's what's going to happen.
No, I agree with that one, but I do need to ask, because I don't understand. What's Heather's problem? Like, she doesn't have to like Bronwyn, but what's her issue with? She really doesn't like Bronwyn.
I think that she actually told us what the issue is.
What?
She's got a new budding friendship with Lisa Barlow.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
She said that, and I thought that was very peculiar.
Yeah,
In
right?
the middle of the reunion, when you're talking about something else, you say, "Yeah, I didn't really want to step on any toes here because this is a new budding friendship, and I want this to go well." It's like, really
Strange.
very weird that you're going to
Strange.
say that about Lisa. That's bowing down.
Yeah, and then also, every chance you have to talk shit on Bronwyn, you do.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Look, I mean, if she clocked Bronwyn and Bronwyn's lying about a lot of things like the jewelry and other shit, and she really didn't want you to go on the trip, and that was a play and that was a move, fine, that's
and
great.
you're right.
But you are undoubtedly trying to be friends with Lisa, so you're going to be on her side. So I didn't really put a whole lot into that one.
Yeah, you're probably right. But Bronwyn and Todd are talking, and Todd clocked Lisa early, I guess, saying like she's, a social friend.
Mhm.
She's a social climber.
Yeah.
And did not expect Lisa to catch a stray in the jazz tickets debacle. Once again comes up. He's like, well, she wants to come to our jazz suite, not to do anything for it. Wink. So to speak. It's like, woo, Todd, settle
Todd, you
down.
been watching?
Yeah, Todd,
You looked excited to be there.
you do your research,
Yeah, dude. You've been sitting around. You've been watching on those flights to Tokyo.
You've been listening to our episodes and us shit on you.
Yeah. Oh God.
We're gonna get sued. He definitely did his homework
Yeah.
and knows that he looks like shit. He's like, I'm gonna try to clean this up a
Yeah.
little bit. But we get the husbands out there, and no, Robert Sr. is not there because he doesn't want to be a fucking part of this shit. I don't think we need Robert
We
Sr.
definitely don't.
That would open up a whole
Also,
different
this
can
is
of
going to be
worms.
a reunion of handling Mary with gloves. So as
Understandably
it
so.
should be, and that's fine.
Yep.
We definitely don't need Robert Sr. there.
Absolutely
We're not even
not.
really going to go to Mary for anything more than an extra comment.
Yeah, which is fine. And then to an update on Robert Jr. at some point, which I'm telling you right now, I'm going to sob like a baby.
Yeah, you
There's
are.
no way I get through that. But
Yeah, you are.
yeah, I know. But we start talking about Bronwyn and Todd's relationship, and we get a recap of all the moments that you and I talked about ad
I thought it was
nauseam.
going to be a montage of the husbands, and they're like, it started off like that with them in the pool talking
And then
about
it's
it.
like, skirt.
And then
Nope.
it's like, actually, we're just going to talk about Todd and Bronwyn's relationship.
Yeah, and Todd being an asshole, and Bronwyn saying things that raise alarms,
I did
such
not see
as
it coming.
the cold weather out here is it's miserable. It's kind of like
No,
a road. It's beautiful,
look,
miserable.
We might do the same. Maybe we'll get another montage because they're doing a lot of montages in the next episode with Seth and Meredith
Oh, definitely.
and all of their things. So maybe it's just the first of many.
How did they skate around it though? Because we still didn't dive into their shit during the season, even though it was right there. It was
Well,
right there.
The preview shows that there's some shit going on.
I'm sure we're going to
We'll
talk about it in
yeah.
the reunion, but I hope
Meredith skated out of everything.
and
this
she
season.
always does, man. She always does. Something about her. She gets out of things, but the whole thing is pretty much just Todd owning up to coming off as gruff as he says or
Mhm.
blunt, etc. Recognizing, yes, I see where I didn't come off great. Bronwyn acknowledges that too. I see where I didn't come off great. We had some good conversations come of this. We're much stronger now than we were. We will never know if that's true.
We will never know if that's true, but if that was rehearsed, that was a good rehearsal.
Yeah, you guys did a good job. selling it.
I thought that Bronwyn did a good job of talking about because I thought that the one weird comment was talking about how cold and like wonderful. What was the word about their
Yeah, it was
marriage?
miserable but beautiful.
Miserable but beautiful. Yeah, I thought that was the most bizarre one that came of all of this. But I thought she did a good job of explaining it away.
That was fine.
She's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm very snarky and I make sarcastic jokes and sometimes it's at my husband's
I like to make the
expense,
joke
and
first before someone else says it about me. I was like, I
Yeah.
do believe that.
I believe that for
Yep.
sure. That actually explains a lot.
It explains
So I
a
thought
whole
she did
lot.
a really good job of being somewhat self-aware. Now, is it actually herself or is it how she came across in this season?
That's the big question mark with Bronwyn is this real? Or is she recognizing things?
Yeah.
Did she watch and did she pay attention and get to the reunion and go, I know how to play this?
Yeah.
Because we saw early on, she came into the season with a game plan. She knew what she was doing. We saw her catch some shit. We caught her in a lot of lies this episode. So it does get you to start questioning how she's moving and her behavior throughout all this stuff. So I don't know if she is on the up and up. I don't know if this is all for show. I don't know if they're playing us. They very well might be. The jury's out for now. I'm going to have to see her in another season and how she operates. She definitely deserves to come back, I think. But it starts to heat up a little bit when Todd says, yeah, we talked about certain things that were off limits, such as Gwen. Gwen was off limits. And JB husband boss,
Don't chime in right now.
just stay out, bro. This was not the moment. He jumps in and goes, who brought it up? It's like,
Agenda much?
come on, dude.
Yep.
You know who brought it up? It was your wife. And he's like, she brought it up on camera. It's like, that's not a pass.
Nope.
That's not a pass to talk about this stuff. It's not a pass to throw out miscarriage allegations. It's not a pass to support the grandparents that refused to meet the grandchild until it was convenient for them. Shut up, JB husband boss. Tough time. You know what you really shouldn't do? Double down. Watch your tone. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, Todd's response was correct. You watch your tone. Shut up, John. Like, this is not your place right now at all.
Eager to see where this one goes.
I hope Todd gets up and slaps him. I hope we see some fisticuffs.
Maybe we
Hey,
will.
psh, psh, not
Little
gonna
Jersey treatment.
just, dude. I don't know, like when JB husband boss decided to grow balls. Apparently, it was sometime before this season started because we watched that interaction with Justin. We watched this now. It's like I don't know when you turned into a hardo, but I think this guy has every right to defend his stepdaughter.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, like what he says in regards to, I've been in her life for 10 years. That's the majority of her life. I would recognize Todd as her father, not the guy that Gwen didn't know.
Yeah.
So for you to speak up, JB husband boss, also diminishes what Todd's role is in Gwen's life. So I thought the whole thing sucked from the Barlows here.
Now, let's get to some questions here. This first one I'm going to read is because this person told us, this is a person who has asked questions before, and we don't really know how to say it. I can hear you saying it in my head. It's from Jennifer McCumber. That's how you say it. She put at the very end, it's McCumber.
Okay, thanks.
So, yeah, there you go. Lisa cries to get out of apologizing and get sympathy. Loser move.
Yep.
Thanks, Jen.
Yep. Good statement.
And next up here, ooh, there's a lot of anti-Lisa comments in here. Do we have a lot of anti-Lisa fans?
I think that watching this episode would turn some people that were on the fence. Yeah. Like, look, it was poorly handled. You took the side of the grandparents. That was a fucking mistake.
From Drew Blackwell photo. Why do you think Andy avoided reading all of Lisa's texts
To protect Emma's job, probably.
Yeah, probably. He was probably going off on Bronwin in those text messages. And he's like, we're not going to get anything more from this. We already kind of know what's going on here. From Cara Miriam Woods, do you think Emma's getting fired? Most definitely.
Emma's already fired.
Yeah.
She's working at K Jewelers now in the mall.
From Max June, what are your thoughts on Jen Shah's WAP video? I'll tell you what, I did not have Meredith saying the word WAP 15 times.
Me neither.
But I enjoyed it every time.
Yep. Yeah, I don't care too much about anything Jen Shah does, so no comment. She's in prison for defrauding elderly people out of money.
Yeah.
So yeah, the video sucked, but Meredith saying WAP was funny.
Yeah. Oh, there's more people doing the pronunciations of their names.
Thanks, guys.
This is from Rish 92.
Okay.
It says RISHH. I feel like we would have gotten. Maybe we said Rish.
I probably said it wrong.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I said it wrong.
Well, from Rish 92, How do we feel about Lisa always playing the victim? More than anything, she just makes it about herself, which
Yeah,
is what she does.
I mean, there was definitely victim mentality here and saying there was a lot on me, which is crazy when you're talking about somebody else and that whole situation. But yeah, it's more so it's about her than it is the victim. I think it's both, but it's always going to come back to Lisa Barlow and Lisa Barlow's world.
Yeah. From Jay Sticks, I did a total change on Todd last night. He would eat John Barlow for breakfast.
I think so too.
I think he could.
I think JB husband boss is all talk. He's all bark. He got a little tough because he felt like he, bowed up to Justin and he walked out of there feeling a little bit tougher than he actually is. I don't think Todd plays any shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, JB husband boss needs to shut the fuck up. Respectfully.
Wow, there's just so many comments. A lot of these aren't even questions. They're just comments about Lisa's behavior. How about that? I got to find at least one more good question in here. You guys really hate Lisa. Even the questions are about hating Lisa. My God. All right, this is actually kind of a fun one. Actually, no, I'll do two more here. From Daria.png. Did you guys see how uncomfortable Whitney was with Bronwyn's sleeves?
Yeah.
It was hiding Whitney from Andy.
That's
He's going to forget I'm here, guys.
maybe.
He probably
But except he won't because you're going to talk at
Yeah.
weird times.
And this is a really fun one to end on. From Caleb Howell. Would you have wanted to see Jared at the reunion to address his DMs to Mary?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I've done a 180 on this one, though, because the first part of that question, do I want to see Jared at the reunion? No.
Yeah.
To address the DMs to Mary, yes, absolutely.
I kind of want to see him get held to the fire by the other women in the group.
I don't think Brittany, that would actually be a weird dynamic because Brittany talks so much and
I wouldn't.
Jared's there. I don't think she would talk as much because he would probably like try to control her. But then
Oh
it would
my
get really
God.
weird and awkward, and then people can go after Jared.
I'll tell you what they should have done.
What's that?
Bring Brittany out in episode 3. Don't tell her, and then bring Jared out.
Oh, and he proposes to her.
No, no.
It's just a promise.
They
ring.
just got together recently. Trust me.
Which time is this?
This was when he made it.
28th time?
He made it official on Instagram with that horrible
aired
video,
on TV.
and then they ate each other's face. It was
Ugh,
awful,
dude.
It lives rent free in my brain. They're both their faces are so like face tuned,
All right. Ending.
and the way
this
he
one on a bad
looks,
note.
the way that he looks at you like through the
No.
phone, I felt violated by Jared
I
Osmond.
feel
He
violated.
looked
right
through
now.
the phone with "fuck me" eyes,
Yeah. Oh, yep.
and I hated it.
Yep. All right.
Well, that's our show. Bro's gotta go.
Lasting images.
Ugh.